I am John Greden. I'm the Executive Director of the University of Michigan Depression Center and the founding chair of the National Network of Depression Centers. And I also had the privilege of being the chair of the Department of Psychiatry at the University of Michigan for 22 years. I'm easily excited by this field, so a lot of things excite me. What probably excites me most is the belief that we can and that we are making a difference. When I sit and look at where we were even in the early days of my training, we didn't have answers for a lot of things. We now, I think, have better answers, but there aren't enough. And I'm actually convinced that with what a number of us have referred to as the P's, if I can have something that's personalized, what works for me, that's predictive. So my condition may be different than someone else's, and it probably is because I have different genes, different stresses, different spouses, different children, different work. Personalized, predictive, this is likely to work for you, even though it may not for someone else. Preventive, and what I want is also participatory. I want to have a vote in what's going on. I want to learn as much as I can about these conditions if I'm on the receiving end. So what excites me is we're finally learning enough about all of those pieces and putting them together so that I truly believe that we can make a difference and then come up with that final P. That is, we're going to prevent these conditions eventually, and that's a goal. That's my goal. When we're treating depression and bipolar, we're treating people. If we're going to determine what is it that makes individuals with depression and bipolar develop the syndromes, in other words, get sick, have certain kinds of patterns, predict whether or not they respond to certain treatments and not to others, how to keep people well once they are getting into treatment and presumably achieve wellness. None of those things would get answered if we didn't have the ability to do research. And those questions can't be answered in test tubes. They can't be answered in laboratories or with microscopes, with neuroimaging techniques, whatever, unless we're doing it with people. And so research is essential if we are to have the breakthroughs that we seek. Most of my own personal research through the years has focused upon something that we've learned a great deal about over 20 years, which is called the stress neuroendocrine system, and how this links to depression. What that means is if I experience stress, and at that point in time that activates parts of my brain, that produces changes in my stress hormones. Those are very much tied up to depression. So people who have depression have abnormalities in that network. It doesn't work the way it's supposed to work. That means that there is some possibility that measuring those aspects could help us identify those who have depression or bipolar or related conditions, those who might respond to certain treatments, and theoretically tell us when somebody has reached the point of being normal. I did that for many years. Ultimately, my research interests shifted to a different framework, which is how do we manage to prevent the recurrences that occur with depression? How do we keep people well? So the goal is not just to get wellness, but to keep wellness. It's truly, truly one of the most important and neglected parts of the entire depression bipolar story.